Ahoy there, Elder Scrolls Legends fans. I'm Dead Broke Nerd, and I've got another deck for you guys today, which is featuring some of the new Jaws of Oblivion cards. This is a Goblin Monk list, and it is a really cool deck. I've gone 12-2 with it. I've beaten all sorts of decks with it. I feel like it's got game against a lot of different things, especially if you're very careful about where you place creatures. I think that's the biggest important thing with this is you can't afford to be sloppy with your lane placement, okay? So it's probably a good deck to help you get used to it, but it's very, very punishing. So if you're not good at anticipating where your opponent's going to play into lanes, the kind of stats they're going to put there on that any given turn, this is going to be a difficult deck for you to pilot. I think there are more forgiving variants of aggro monk, but I think this is a very explosive one that has a lot of really cool redeeming qualities to it. Now, I also think this is nowhere near finished or refined because there are so many builds of aggro monk and goblin monk, both of them that I think are good, and I think are viable, that I think have upside. There's lots of cards, especially in the 3-drop slot. The 3-drop slot is so contested in monk and in this list that I'm leaving out cards that I never thought I would justify leaving out of a list, but I'm doing it for a specific reason. So let me break down this list for you. The biggest thing that this list is trying to do that a lot of other lists may not want to do is play the Goblin Skulk. This is one of my favorite cards of all time, probably my favorite card pre-nerf. When it was 2-drop, it was my favorite card. Pilfer, draw a random 0-cost card from your deck. So we put in our Murkwater Goblins. It is a 0-cost, 0/1 Goblin. I know my face is blocking it, but it's a 0/1, but on our turn, it will have +2 attacks. It'll be a 2/1 on our turn, okay? So why are we running the Murkwater Goblin? Well, because I want to really capitalize on Murkwater Skirmisher. I think there's viable Goblin decks that don't run Skirmisher. I think there's going to be viable Curse decks that don't need Goblin Skulk. I think you could also keep Goblin Skulk, cut the 0-drop Murkwater Goblins, and put curses in. This is what I'm talking about. There's so many different ways to play this. I honestly don't know which is best, and I'm just like grinding games out with different variants, trying to figure out what I feel like is the strongest. There's mid-range variants that I know have been very successful in the hands of other players, so keep your eye out. This is just because this deck worked really well for me, doesn't mean there's not a variant that's going to fit your play style better, but I'm going to point out how this deck works. Basically, it's very, very aggressive, but it also wants to be able to trick trades with the curse package, quote unquote, without curses. So you've got things like the Dust Eater Skirmisher. When it takes damage, it gives a curse effect. You've got the Murkwater Witch and the Bitterfish Witch, which both summon, give a creature -1/-1. Those are really nice because they buff the Bloody Hand Chef, which when you reduce an enemy creature's power or health, it will gain that much power or health. So that synergizes with our Shining Saint, both of the witches. It synergizes with our Cloud Rest Illusionist as well, and of course the curses from the Murkwater Scourge. We're only running 2 Scourges because they're a little expensive, they're understated, but they do give us some great utility when you play them, so we've kept 2 in, and the Goblin tag, so as you can see. And then really, we're playing a lot of our goblins, a lot of our green goblins, keeping our yellows down because of the Murkwater Savage, which whenever you play a green creature, it gets +1/+1. And then finally, we really want our Murkwater Skirmisher to come down and get a lot of buffs, hence the Murkwater Goblin. Sometimes I will get the Goblin, I'll hold it in hand, and wait until the turn I'm going to play the Skirmisher just to guarantee a little bit of extra value. Sometimes, not worth doing. If you're afraid of an Ice Storm, hold it in your hand. If not, if you don't think they're going to be able to clear it effectively, if you're not afraid of a Skaven Pyromancer or Tiny Dragon, go ahead and drop that Goblin in the Shadow Lane on the following turn. Boom, Murkwater Skirmisher is going to come down, buff it up. You're going to be all set, ready to go face. In the top end, we just have the Anasi, the 3 Cliff Racers, and the Giant Snakes. We really don't want to be too top heavy. That's pretty much it. Now, I do want to point out a couple cards you might want to consider in different variants. You could put Curse in for Murkwater Goblin. You could put in Golden Initiates, Corner Club Gamblers, East March Crusaders, or Penitus Oculatus Agent. All 4 of those 3-drops are not in the list, and they could be in the list, and I think would have a great argument to being played in here. Additionally, if you want to go with a even more aggressive build, I think Dune Smuggler, Dune Stalker would both be good options. I think you could also fit a Mad Dash in here. There's so many different ways I think that you could play Aggro Monk, Goblin Monk, Curse Monk. Like, the intersection of all three of these kinds of ideas, cursing, goblins, and monk in general, and aggro, like mid-range, like there's so many different intersections of these mechanics and archetypes and powers. It's going to take a while to really parse through and find one that works perfectly, and I don't even think there is a one best list of all of these things. I think that we're going to find that, you know, a different blending of these packages are going to benefit some players better than others, for some play styles better than others. So it's really exciting to see, and I love that the Bloody Hand Chef, the Dust Eater Skirmisher, and the Bitterfish Witch, all new cards from Jaws of Oblivion, all in this deck, and I think they really have brought new life and really new inspiration to a lot of the classic Monk players out there who are just really, you know, looking for something cool and different and exciting to mess around with this traditionally very fun but a little underpowered class. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy the game that I've attached for the Goblin Monk. And besides that, if you do enjoy the video, please like it. That would be amazing. And of course, if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to the channel so you can get notifications and see when some of my new videos go live. It is the best way to support me as a content creator. So if you haven't done that yet, please do so. And finally, if you have any ideas or you test this deck out and something works really well for you, you have a cool play with it, feel free to post in the comments below. I always check them. I try to respond as best as I can. So yeah, I'm happy to see what you guys have for me. So anyways, enjoy the game with the Goblin Monk. All right, here we go. Looks like we've got ourselves a match. What do we got here? What do we got here? Going up against a Guildsworn. Legend 184. We're going to need to be wary of the Invade package. Something to keep an eye on. We do have a 1 and a 2, a very nice 1 and 2. We'll throw back the Giant Snake. We wish we had the Ring. That's something that against, if we suspect we're against Invade, that's something we really want to be able to get like the Trader out first. But for now, we're going to go with the Brotherhood Suspect. I think I do want it Shadow. We definitely want the Mournhold Trader Shadow because we have the Shift. So maybe we put the Brotherhood Suspect. No, we're going to start leading Shadow. We want to, if we suspect it's going to be Invade, which right now I think that's a fair assumption that it could be Invade, we want to be building Shadow. And making it really hard for them to build up those gates. And again, if not, hey, we can abandon it. We've got the Shadow Shift if something scary comes down that we don't want to deal with. But there's not going to be any, you know, big lethal things or anything like that. So that's going to be a Mythic Dawn Informant, and we picked up a great answer in the Murkwater Witch. Let's go ahead and swing 2 and 4. We'll go ahead and also put down the Murkwater Witch. Kill this. Okay. Hey, we gave him a Daedra. No big deal. I'm not going to stress it. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. He's probably got a bunch of Daedra already. Now the question is, do we want to use the Shadow Shift? And I think the answer is no. The only thing we would want to shift would be maybe this Brotherhood Suspect, because if something comes down and gives the brings up the gate, it is going to be in Shadow. So like, we're not going to be able to trade into it immediately. I think we just want to keep everything here, so we're going to hold on to the Shadow Shift for now. Okay, here comes a Sigil Keeper. Okay. Invades and gives it a ward. I mean, that's a bit of a pain, but it's also not the end of the world. And yeah, we're not going to stress it, you know? I think we're going to go... I think we want to go Skulk here, but we could go Scourge. The issue with Scourge is simply it doesn't accomplish anything now, but it does put down a good amount of damage over the next turn or two. So we're going to swing 4. We're going to get the swinging out of the way. The swinging is happening. We're swinging. And good, no prophecies. So now we would be looking at Skulk and maybe a Shift. What we'd shift, though, is the question, because we're pretty sure we're going to lose the Murkwater Witch to the Sigil Keeper. And potentially we even lose the Mournhold Trader in a trade. So it's at this point that we could consider going Shift, right? And pushing kind of in a race situation. There's only one level 1 gate. We do have the Cliff Racer as well, and we get the Goblin Skulk down, which is going to be able to feed us a couple 0-cost Goblins. So I'm actually liking that play over the Scourge, to be completely honest. So we're going to go with the Shift. Draws us a card. Let's see what we get. A Surin Pawnbroker is nice, but we're going to play that Goblin Skulk every time. So now we've got the Cliff Racer, which we can use to remove obnoxious things on our opponent's side. We've got it for bracing to the face. Here comes a 3-drop Unexpected Arrival. Okay, it is going to invade and drop another Shining Saint. Okay. We're going to be looking to close out this game in the next 2 turns. Otherwise, this does probably get out of control. It's got 2 more levels before it starts handing out keywords, and that's where we really start getting a little bit scared. I think what we want to do is we want to go here, get ourselves our Murkwater Goblin, and then we're going to go 2-4 and see if they have a Prophecy.
Surprise!
Oh, that is going to be Prophecy. That could be really bad if it's a Lightning Bolt or a Javelin. Okay, so that's a Guildsworn Apprentice. Okay, so at this point, we're looking at 2 courses of action. We either go Pawnbroker, Trader, which I like because that necessitates them removing things in order to play down guards. Or we're going like Scourge. No, I think we always want this Pawnbroker. So we go Goblin, we go Pawnbroker. We see what we get first. It's a Bushwhack. That's actually going to be really, really big. That could be just game ender. That's what we're looking at here. Between the Cliff Racer and the Bushwhack, we have some crazy ability to get lethal here, and that's what Pawnbroker can do. Let's see what they've got here. It's going to be another Invade. Okay, so now those Daedra are all going to be discounted by 1, as well as getting the +1/+1. 1 more Invade, and they are going to start getting keywords. But I think we can close out the game before that becomes relevant. They can take this trade and get a contract, but they have no space. They're going to have to overflow anything if they want to block this damage over here. And as we know, we do have the Bushwhack Cliff Racer, hopefully to end this game for us. Invasion Party. How much are they going to invade here? They have to summon some scamps and really hope for some good rolls. That is a charge roll, but it is not a charge drain roll, and that's probably going to spell defeat for them.
I am defeated.
Good game. Good game. We got him with the gobos. Very, very good game. Very good game. And I think we played it really well, anticipating, hey, these are dangerous colors that could be using Invade. We need to invest Shadow early to really disrupt their tempo and say, listen, you can't just spam out Invasion Scouts or Invasion Imps or whatever early, because we're going to clean up those gates. We're going to slow down your value. And then, of course, once that gets slowed down, we saw that they had the gates. They finally got a level 1 gate like on turn 4 or 5, and at that point they were low on health. We had a board. We say, okay, we're jumping lane. We're going to start pushing damage to the face and start building threats that they can't answer quickly, because if they want to play their Daedra, they need to upgrade their gates, and they typically can't kill our things and do that at the same time. Good game, and I think it was a really nice little showcase of how to handle the Daedra matchup with this deck. This deck actually kind of likes putting things in Shadow. I mean, between Shadow Shifts, Monk Strike, and of course just the fact that like we've got some overstated stuff. We've got the ability to ping stuff with the curse, effects and stuff with the Bitterfish Witch and the Murkwater Witch. It just gives us the nice little ability to lead Shadow and not completely kill our chances. So hope you guys enjoyed the game, and once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.